guys, I want to show you something really quick and fun and a very effective technique also at the same time. This still to me feels like a little sophisticated card, but there is a name for these little cards. I don't know, maybe a lunchbox card, or I think maybe that's it. And basically what it is you have these scraps of cardstock left over from other card making projects or scrapbooking, right? This is like the majority of your scraps are these pieces that are big enough to do something with, but they're not an actual full-size card. But you still want to use them. And so why not make little lunchbox cards? Or these are perfect to punch a hole in, tie around a wine bottle, stick into a box of candy for a teacher gift or something. And it's just fun. And it's fun to take what we're used to using, which is, a larger surface, 5x7, 6x6, whatever, and see what you can do with just a littler size, right? And plus they're fun. I love the little kitschy designs. And so we're going to make two different versions of this. And I have a super big secret of how to do that back ombre look. Okay, so the fun idea here is that we are not going to get out any inks to do this. That is right. All right, so let's take that scrap of paper. So where do we get these, right? We get these. This is not a full-size sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This has been cut off. And I am going to cut it even further and make it into, I'm going to get two cards out of this. I'm going to make one a little bigger, maybe one a little smaller. So I'm not going to cut this exactly in half. I'm going to cut it a little off to the side. I actually do have a mark I made down here. It's not official measurement mark. It's just I eyeballed that I wanted this finished card to be, well, these two finished cards to be one bigger than the other. See, so we're not cutting this exactly in the middle. We're cutting it a little off to the side. So let's start with that. And if you are using a scrap, make sure your scrap is a square piece of cardstock, that it already has straight edges. And we are good on this one, because sometimes, you throw those in your bin and they don't always have a straight edge on them. So get yourself cut down to a good straight edged cardstock first, and then hit it. All right, so now we have two card bases, a small one and a larger one. Let's start with the small one first, and that's this one that we're going to make here. So real quick and simple, let's take this off. We don't need that on our messy mat here or our glass board. Take this smaller of the two here and fold it in half. And that is your simple card base. And again, if you'll see here on the example, it does have a raised layer for a little more sophistication. And so that is, of course, a great way to use up more scraps you may have. Here is a scrap of cardstock, same cardstock. And I'm going to use my method of making a card face layer. I'm going to take a corner of this cardstock scrap and I'm going to match it up to a corner of my card base. And actually that tells me that that's not straight on that side, so I do need to trim this. See, always check before you cut. You want a good straight edge on your scraps. Okay. All right, so now we have nice straight edge. So we're going to match the corner of this cardstock up with the corner of our card. And then we're going to pull it down diagonally until the same amount of card base is showing at the top as is the side. Let me zoom in that for you. Can you see this distance here and this distance here? We want those to be about the same. There we go. Then we're going to transfer, let me zoom out for this. There we go. We're going to transfer this distance showing on this side up to this corner and come in about that same distance. And then we're going to do the same with the top, see what this distance is, and go down to this corner and measure in about the same distance. And cutting that out is going to give us a card face layer for our project, as well as use up more scraps. There we go. Okay, and of course, if you want, do a dry fit here and see how that looks. I think that looks pretty good. All right, remove your card base and set that out of the way. Now, here's where the fun part begins. How did we get that ombre look if we didn't use any ink pads? We did this little thing called we cleaned our brushes on it. That is correct. You know how after you use your brush, you wipe it off vigorously on extra scrap paper, or you even go clean it off, whatever you do. Well, here's a better way. Why not put that ink that you're rubbing onto scratch paper to some use? Let's put it onto our card. So we're going to separate this into 3 colors. We're going to do a blue, just like in our example. We're going to do a blue, a pink, and an orange. And I know I have enough ink on these because I've been using these 3 colors a lot lately. I love this color combination. So I know there's enough ink in those to do this card. And in fact, there's probably going to be enough to do the second card we're going to make as well. So again, visually separate this by 3s if you want to start in the middle to give yourself that visual middle line. Go ahead, but just take your brush and scrub it out. And don't worry, just get a good dark line in there right up the middle. All right, so there is that. Then take your other colors. So now we're going to do the orange. And I'm scrubbing that one out. And don't worry, they're not blended completely yet, right? We're just laying that ink onto the cardstock. And then we're going to do the blue. If you don't want to touch what you've already colored, put some cardstock down and hold on to it that way. Look, I knew I had a lot of blue in there because I've been using some massive blue lately. Okay, now go back to your pink, and this is where we make those 2 blend together. I'm kind of doing like a circular motion. I'm really working them to blend together. Okay, that's where that blending comes. Look, I'm shaking the table because I am really working it. And the more I work it, the cleaner my brush gets. So yay. See, now we've got that blending happening. And we're going to do it on this side. This one, we're taking the lighter. See, when you're going to blend 2 colors together, take the lighter of the 2 and overlap it with the darker of the colors. That's how you get a good blend. If I were to take the pink and blend it into the orange, I would get more pink because it's such a dominant color. Okay, so when you're blending 2 together, take the lighter of the 2 and blend it over the darker. Okay. And if you want, go back with your pink. Oops, go back with your pink again. See, I got that line in there from holding that cardstock over it, so gotta blend that out. There we go. Okay, so this is where the fun, cool part comes in. Now you're gonna take your Memento ink. You want a good, dark, really juicy, really, really, really good dye-based black ink, because we're not blending anything, so it can be dye-based black ink. And then this particular card is featuring the Nothing's Better Than stamp set from Stampin' Up. I love this. I love the little cocktails, little drinks in here. You got cocktails, you got cookies, you got candy, you got all, usually even a little mug. It's so fun. I love this little set. So we're going to use the cocktail glass And we're also going to use the cocktail glass insert. That's what has those little ice cubes. Now, for this, if you are not good at stamping with a block, you may want to use your stamping platform or, you know, something like that to give you a little better leverage. With this particular stamp set, the good thing is it's photopolymer, so you should not get any ridges showing around the stamp like you do with a foam mount stamp. But still, again, if you are challenged by block stamping, just use your stamping platform. Okay, get the ink on there how you want. I like to do both. Put the ink to the stamp, put the stamp to the ink, and then give it CPR like it's dying on me. And then here, the first stamp, we're going to make sure the whole drink is showing on our card. And I press down, and then I remove my fingers like this, because if you stay with your fingers on there, you have a tendency to wobble, and that could smear your image. So stamp it down, remove your fingers, then come back and press. Okay, and that should help you get a little more confidence in your block stamping. Okay, and we're gonna stamp this 2 more times. And the trick with using these smaller stamps on these smaller cards is to get some perspective in there. So if you'll notice on this card, we get the full version of the glass right here, but down here we only have half the glasses showing, and that's what draws the eye into this image, because it's like you're looking past these 2 glasses to the glass at the other end of the table. So that's the trick. When you change your canvas size, change your perspective as well. So I'm going to chop this glass off. I'm only going to stamp like from there up. Remove my fingers, and then I come back in and press. There we go. And we'll do it one more time. Over on the other side, same thing. Just getting about half that glass. Removing my hands, coming back in, and then pressing down. There we go. Now at this point, you might want to grab your chamois. Of course, clean your stamp off. And then move your card and clean your board off. Just because, you know, you're not going to see that ink that's there, and you might stick your finger in it. Okay. Now we're going to do the little filler stamp. He's cute. Again with the black. I don't know why I like to do a double inking when I do black, but I do. Okay. And squish. There's one. Two. And 3. Cool. Okay, again, clean that off. I don't want to seem like I'm overly anal about this, but if you're a person who really gets deep into your work fast and you're not paying attention, the more ink you have on things, the more ink you're going to get on your fingers, and the more inky fingers you're going to get on your projects. So I just have made it a habit to keep cleaning up as I go. Now, the next thing that gives us some definition, already that is super cool, but what I've done is I took that panel to the ink pad and put some black around the edge. So let's do that. And all that is holding the panel, and you can either scrape it like that, or you can do that, or you can scrape it multiple times, however you like, however dark you want it to get. It just helps define that a little bit more. Gives it more of that cocktail lounge look, I guess. Okay, now set that off to the side. Let that set up just a little bit, because next we're going to make the little sentiment here. See how I love this, that it's an abstract shape. It reminds me of, like, you know, a 60s cocktail lounge. That is really fun. And how we do that is, again, without using any ink, we're just going to take another scrap. And this doesn't have to have any straight sides yet, okay? Just take a brush with ink on it, and clean your brush off on it. Okay. Next, pick out your sentiment, and that one I used was Because Adulting is Hard, which is fun. You can see, since with the dye, how dyed this is, I use this one quite a bit. I love it. It's cool. And again, we're going to use the Memento ink. And I'm just stamping it anywhere in the middle. There we go. And we'll clean that off and put that away, because we are done with this particular stamp set now. All right, now this is the fun part. Go back to your card layer, and decide where you're going to want to put it, right? We want to put it up there like we did the other one. So let's just start cutting. And the cool thing about this is you don't even have to get out your paper trimmer. As long as you're going to make one straight cut, just use your scissors. That's what gives it that kitschy design. Okay, so now we're going to go up from there. So that's cool. We got that fun cut there. Got to bring some off the top here. See if that brings it down. Yep, that's cool. And let's give it a fun little snip there. All right, let's see if that fits in our area. You want a little bit of that color showing, I think, because that's just what makes it more fun. And just like we did with our layer, we are going to run some black around the edge of that. And it is dye ink, so it will dry fast, but try not to run your fingers around it yet. Just let it set up a little bit, or stick it up under the bulb of your light, just to set it up fast enough so you can touch it, because we are going to then go back to our awesome foam tape. And I got some scraps laying around here, so we're going to use those up. See if I have any more. Okay. So we're going to take that. And where was the edge? It's going to go up against the... All right, so we want it like right there. There we go. Okay, so that's going to go right there. I'm not going to stick it on yet, though. We're going to flip this over and put the foam tape on the back of this. It's not that big of a card, so you don't really have to cover the whole thing unless you want to. I know a lot of people like to go really, really hardcore on the foam tape, so do what you feel you need to do. All right, so that is ready to go onto our card base. Center it out. Stick that down. Bring in your fun little sentiment. And there you go. Wouldn't that be awesome to get in your lunchbox? You know, for your spouse or your partner, whoever is the one that has to go to work because you get lucky and have to get to work from home. And they open up their little lunchbox or their briefcase and they're like, oh my God, that's so fun. And you can write your little sentiment in there. I love it. We didn't even open any ink pads. We cleaned our brushes. How cool is that? There's one, there's the other. Now we're going to do another one with the bigger size. Wipe off my fingers. Ooh, a little far out there. There we go. Sorry. All right, let's go back to that bigger scrap we had. I mean, it's not that big, right? It's bigger than the other one. So again, let's fold it in half. This is going to be our card base. Oh, look, we got some green there. Let's wipe that off. See? It's another reason I work on a very, very small crafting area. I know you wouldn't believe it, but I do. And if I don't clean between projects, we're going to run into a situation. All right, so the scrap we've got, we're going to fold that in half. And the cool thing about these is these can be any size scrap you have because you're not putting them in envelopes at all. So you don't have to worry about it. If you want to make an envelope for it, by all means, bust out your envelope maker and go for gold. But you don't have to for these, which is fun. All right, now again, we're going to take some scrap. See, I got, these ones are probably too small. Yep, let's see what I got else over here. I always keep my scraps of cardstock, my scraps of white cardstock laying right behind me on my work surface because those are the ones I grab the most. So this scrap, this is that marbled, hard, heavy cardstock I don't use. You can see it's a completely different white than my card base. But that doesn't matter, right? Because we're going to ink it. So who cares? So I'm going to, again, measure it out. Get myself a good frame. Right? Because I feel like there is still too much ink left in our brushes for the day. So there we go. And let's trim this off. I know you can't see me trimming it, but bear in mind, I'm just trimming. Not a lot happening over at this end here, just trimming it off. There we go. There's our little piece. Okay, so here's our piece. So again, we're going to take the same three because I feel like we still have enough ink in these. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to start with our pink down the middle. Not too scientific here. Don't forget the sides of your brush. I mean, you want to clean your brush, right? This is it. Clean it good. All right. Orange. The sides. See, look at all that ink coming out. I didn't even know I still had that much in there. Okay. And now we're going to do the blue. The blue is just the most indelible, man. Whew. That blue is like deep, deep in there. Look at that. All right, now remember, we're going to blend these two together and then these two together. So we're going to take the lightest of the two and use that to blend. So that's the pink. There we go. That's a good blend. See how it just blends it right out there? Cool. Now flip it around. And out of these two, we're going to use the lighter one, the orange, and blend that in. And I think at this point, these brushes should be sufficiently clean. All right, wipe hands off. This time we're going to use this really cool Island Vibes. This was from the Celebration that just recently finished with Stampin' Up. You got to pay attention to them. Like twice a year they do the Celebration, which is when you buy so much stuff, you get a free stamp set or free paper. I got the pineapple. I'm so excited for the pineapple. So you can't get this anymore, but hey, any pineapple will do, or something like this. Now the cool thing about this set is it is called a die something or other because it actually gives a 3D imprint. It's not just a black and white imprint. You see these shading in the leaves and the shading in the pineapple points? That's all going to come out in one stamp. So it's like a layering stamp set, only it's in one stamp. So it really looks cool in the black on this tie-dye color. Now, I will say though, it is a rubber mount stamp, so you might want to bring in your stamping platform so you don't get those black ridges when we ink this thing. All right. So yeah, we could do that. We could put the blue on the other side since we put blue on the one side. First, we're going to start in the middle, okay, like we did with the other one. So my stamping platform comes with a foam pad for photopolymer stamps, and since I'm using a foam mount stamp, I'm taking out that little pad. And I am taking out the pineapple. Isn't that cool? That's a big stamp too. I love this pineapple. All right, we're gonna put one big old pineapple right up in the middle. There we go. It should work. And I just eyeballed it. I'm not measuring. Okay, and again with your Memento, just your dye-based black ink, right? Just stamp it up. So you can see right there, it's not a very dark black. That's because it's all different layers in that stamp. So you're not going to get dark black the first try. I'll peel. Oh, I don't want to peel it off and show you yet. So let me show you with the stamp. So we're going to stamp it down. Okay, I'm just doing it lightly at first. Do you see that dimension? Isn't that cool? It looks like a flippin' pineapple. But I am going to do it one more time. Make sure I get the edges real good. You know, where we're going to see a lot of contrast on this guy. So I'm even pushing around the edge more than anything. I love it. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Yes, it's cool. All right, wipe off your pineapple. We're going to replace him. Okay, and then actually we can do the full pineapple on all three sides. I think that would actually be cooler just to get the whole pineapple in. Yeah, let's do that. Because he's so cool. I've never had a pineapple stamp, and I am flipping obsessed with this pineapple. This pineapple is going to appear in a lot of things in my life. And again, press around the edges of your stamp to get that good outline impression. That's where you want the good contrast. Okay, and then do another stamping that you can get the ink everywhere else, right up the middle. Cool. Okay. Let's do that one there. And that one there. Isn't it amazing though? Think about it. Look at all the ink we got out of that ink brush. So if you want to conserve your resources, boom, these are the cards to make. Holy ombre, Batman. And I love just pressing around the edge. There we go. Put your ink away. All right, let's get our layer out. I think that's just super cool. First of all, is it 80s? Is it 60s? Is it everything wonderful? Yes, it is. All of the above. All right, we are done with the stamp set. We are done with our stamping platform. All right, let's try and do a sentiment. We need a sentiment. Let's go back to, see, this was just a free one, right? So it doesn't have a lot of stamps and it doesn't have any sentiments. So let's go back to Nothing's Better Than. Let's see. Today's plan. You make everything better. I'd like a long, something long. Let's see. Let's play with some of these. We already did Adulting is Hard, right? So let's put that back. There is our drink, and there is our drink insides. Oh, this is a good one right here. What's this? And I'm pretty sure, let's see. All right. I want, you are just like, where's the one that says, is like, just kidding, I have no idea. Let's see. No, that's too big. All right, where is the other piece of, oh no, did I lose my, oh, there it is. Stick that on the back here, okay. There we go. There we go. This way we can read them. All right. Oh, cocktails is cool. Let's see. Today is a cocktails kind of day. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, I think that's it. All right, so we are going to stamp the word cocktails directly onto the card in the middle, in the black. But these other two, we're going to do that on our green. again. So let's get this out of the way carefully. Go back to our green. Got some extra here, right? So clean that brush out. Don't forget the edges. See how I'm like pushing it on the edges? You got a lot of ink up in those edges. Get those edges. It's like brushing. Come on, get the back sides now. All right. Get out the ink. Okay, so this first stamp is, today is A. And I just stamped it down somewhere where there's enough room around it that I can trim it and cut it into some cool shape like we did on the first card. Okay, put that back. And then the second one, kind of day. And again, I just stamped it so there's room around it for me to trim. And then first, okay, here's our cocktails. Now, we're gonna go photopolymer onto a glass board, which means we have to have a stamping pad underneath this so we get some resistance to get that impression, okay? You know what? Actually, we should put this in the Stamparatus. I want a really good dark impression on this. Not gonna lie, I like me some good dark black when I want it. That's how I want it. Okay. And this time, because we're using the photopolymer stamps, we are going to put the pad back into our little doohickey here. Remember, these are kitschy, right? These are fun. So this is not going to be straight when I stamp this, so don't freak out. Like cocktails. Bam. Crooked. I love it. Okay. Yeah, I definitely suggest using a stamping platform for this if you really want to get good dark, 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 dark. Like if you're doing a girls' night or a party night or a guys' night or something, bachelorette, bachelorette party, whatever, these little cards in your goodie bags would be the best part of the night. I'm not even lying. Now, could we have put the word cocktail up on a raised little piece like the others? Sure. But I didn't want to. So, you know. There it is. Cocktails. I love that. I just think that's fun. Okay. Now, let's see. We can cut these out. First, I'm just going to cut them apart so I know what I'm working with. And like the other one, we want them to fit into our space. They don't have to be like exactly perfectly shaped. That's cool. It's kind of like a flag. And then let's do okay, so there's that cool shape. We just got to straighten out that end there. There we go. Perfect. Welcome to Las Vegas is what it feels like. All right, let's ink these edges. And you could put sequins on these. You could put some jewels. Black enamel shiny dots would be great. I don't have any at the moment. Use my last ones. or Stickles in black enamel, Nuvo drops, not in black enamel, but I mean in shiny black. All right, so those are gonna be stuck down. Let's get our foam tape out. It's time for the foam tape. Okay. Let's just do that. More foam tape. All right, here's our card base. Stick that on there. Yeah, we've got some leftover foam tape here. Let's see if I cut that in a good little piece that can be used for these. Woot woot. Nope. Okay. There we go. All right. Today is a cocktails kind of day. Isn't that fun? You guys love that? I love it. I want this in a bag, in a party favor bag. I want to go to a bachelorette party and get this. So I hope you like this idea. Again, if you did like my video, please give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumb. I don't care which direction it is at this point because I'm new. I'm getting going. So I appreciate all the love, good or bad. Subscribe. It would be awesome to be one of my first subscribers. And there should be a little bell you can hit to be notified when I post another video. So I have 2 of these, but I only had 1 of these. So there you go. Here's our cards today. Also, you can follow me on Instagram for more crafty shenanigans at Scrappy Stamp the Fun Up. Also on WordPress, Stamp the Fun Up. And on Facebook, Stamp the Fun Up. Hey, guess what? How easy is that to remember? You're welcome. All right, you guys, I hope you liked these. I had so much fun doing this. And I like, is that the one we did? Which one did we do tonight? I don't remember. I think we did the brighter one. Really like how that came out. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye.